These are notes number 10, Parallel Lines and Triangles. This is section 2-5 in your book, page 98. We will be doing some examples from the book later. Right now you can see what we should have started in class. Essential question, how do I use parallel lines to find measures of angles of triangles? This was a problem to practice. How can I prove two lines are parallel? So it says, which lines are parallel given this info? Which theorem proves it? So we should have done that in class. And so here is the beginning of the notes from today's lesson. Oops. All right, so go ahead and copy this down. This is a theorem on page 99 in the book. Oops, let me get that set up. And again, we'll do examples in the book. So make sure you have your book ready. So this is the triangle angle sum theorem. It's really important, and you may have actually learned about it before in previous math classes. So here is a triangle. It has angles A, B, and C. What the theorem says is the three angles of a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. So measure of angle A plus measure of angle B plus measure of angle C equals 180 degrees. What this allows us to do is if I know the measures of two angles, I can add them up, do 180 minus that, and find the third angle, since I know all three have to add up to 180. Pause if you need to, but here is the other theorem. It's theorem 17 on page 101 in the book. Triangle exterior angle theorem. So with the triangle, we'll have an exterior angle, which means outside of the triangle. What it says is the measure of each exterior angle of a triangle equals the sum of the two remote interior angles. So I drew two triangles. I just drew them different ways so that you could see what this is. So in this triangle, I made the green 1. That's the exterior angle, and I underlined it here just so you can connect that. Exterior is the 1. Same thing here. Those are exterior. You can tell that they're outside of the triangle. So the measure of angle 1 equals the sum of measure of angle 2 and the sum of measure of angle 3. So I always think of it as the two angles that are inside but across, not the one that's adjacent. That's a linear pair. That it equals the two that are across. From here, measure of angle 1 equals the sum of angles 2 and 3, the two that are across, not the adjacent angle. And again, these are a linear pair. Okay, so now we're going to do some examples in the book. So get your book. Just to show you, I'm going to move the notes. This is on page 99. Like I told you in the notes, this is where the actual theorem is, that the measure of the three angles adds up to 180 degrees. And here's the proof. When you have some time, go ahead and look through step by step and look at the reasons and try to make some sense of this. This proof has parallel lines. Line or segment AC at the bottom, that side, is equal to or parallel to this line at the top, that red line. That's called an auxiliary line. Oops, you can't see that. Auxiliary line. But the first example we're going to do is on the next page. Okay, so we are now on page 100. I'll just write that here so that you know. Find page 100. I'm going to work pretty quickly, so pause as you need to. Find measure of angle 1. This is just a normal triangle, so the key thing you need to remember here is about the theorem where the measures of the angles all add up to 180. Measure of angle 1 plus 117 plus 33 equals 180. Okay, that's the theorem. Okay, so what I would do is go ahead and combine like terms, add your 117 and 33. And that's 150. So measure of angle 1 plus 150 equals 180. Use the subtraction property of equality. Subtract 130 to both sides. We get measure of angle 1 equals 50 degrees. Okay, and then you can check your answer, just check in the calculator. If you add up the 50 and the 117 and the 33, does that equal 180? That's what you need to check. If it does, then you did it right. Then you know that you have the correct answer. Okay, so number 2, let's try that one also. Find the value of each variable. So I need to find the value of x and y. So I need to find both of those. So what we have is, first, let's look at the actual triangle. And then I'm noticing x and y are vertical angles. Vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent, so they would have the same measure. Once I find x, then I'll know what y is. Okay, so I'm going to solve this one in a little bit of a different way. The first one, I showed how you can write an equation. This one, I'm just going to add 70 and 30 and subtract from 180. So 70 plus 30, if I add them up, that is 100. And then all I have to do for x is 180 minus 100. And that gives me 80 degrees. This looks a lot easier, but you have to know what you're doing. And then remember, y is y also 80 degrees. Look back at the diagram. I was saying x and y are vertical angles, straight across from each other. Okay, and again, a way I could check my answer is plugging in 80 is 80 plus 70 plus 30, 180 degrees. And yes, it is. Okay, pause if you need to. I'm moving on. I'm going to skip these examples, but here on page 101, it goes over, and it's good for you to check the three of the different ways you could draw a triangle with an extended side, and that shows you the exterior angle. Okay, so here's the other theorem that we took notes on. Theorem 17, triangle exterior angle theorem. The measure of the exterior angle, measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. And we'll do a couple examples right now. Actually, which ones was I going to do? Actually, I'm just going to do the examples on alex.com, which will be put in later. Okay, so yeah. So I'll do those examples in alex.com. So let's just do a quick little review. This is page 103. So find the measure of the third angle of a triangle. So we don't have the picture of the triangle, like there's no diagram, but I can just imagine any triangle where I have 2 angles given, and then I'm trying to find the third one. So for the first one, it's like 34 degrees and 88 degrees. What's the third one? So all you have to do is add those up and then subtract that from 180. So I'm just showing you the real quick way that I would do this. I would do 180 minus, add that up, 33 plus 88 is 122. And then subtract 180 minus that. Use a calculator if you want to, and that is 58 degrees. That is the third angle. And that's all you have to do. It just says find the measure of the third angle given the 2 measures. So I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do 10. I want you guys to try 8 and 9. Okay, so I'm going to do number 10. Sorry, I didn't even check. I hope you could see that whole thing. So on number 10, I would have, okay, add those together, and then I do 180 minus that. The problem is it has an x. So I would actually set this up like an equation. X plus 50. Okay, just kidding. We're not going to do this one. It would be weird because we already have one unknown, and then I'd have another unknown, and we try to solve it and set it equal to 180. So just kidding, we're not going to do that one. Why don't we do number 9, and then you can try 8 together. So what I would do, again, is I would add those together and subtract from 180. So 10 plus 102 is 112, and subtract, and I get 68. So 68 degrees. Okay, and then I do want to do like at least 11. Let's do 11, and then you can have an example of this. It's got the remote interior angles, and we're finding the measure of an exterior angle. So I'm going to try to just draw one real quick. the way I do this is I draw a triangle and then I just extend one side past the triangle. I just extend it a little bit longer. So this is your exterior angle. And then this one and this one, those are the interior, the remote interior. Remote is, just think of it as farther away. Remote, it's a remote angle far away. So for 11, I'm going to draw that again. I want you guys to practice doing it too. I'm trying to find angle 1, which is the one I don't know. And then 2 and 3 are these ones. So 2 is 24 and 3 is 106. So the theorem for these ones, it doesn't really have to do with the 180. The measure of angle 1 will equal the sum of the two remote interior angles. So measure of angle 1 equals 24 plus 106. So measure of angle 1 equals 130 degrees if you add them up. And that's all you have to do. So go ahead and try 12. I'll help you set it up because it is actually a little bit different. So this time they're telling you measure of angle 1, which is the exterior angle. That's 70. And then measure 2 is 32. And you're trying to find that third angle. So you can set it up the same way like how I did over there. 70 equals, so remote, or the exterior angle equals the sum of the remote interior angles. 32 plus, I'm going to make, instead of a question mark, I'm going to make that be x, so it's just a variable. And then you just have to solve. Okay, so go ahead and finish that problem, and then up above number 8. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do some Alex homework help.